Hello, everyone, and welcome to TaxCycle's webinar. Today, we are going to guide you through the process of preparing a basic T1 return. My name is Parminder Kaur, a community success specialist at TaxCycle from Zero. So we will start by discussing how to carry forward returns from the prior year, including transfers from a competitor software. Following that, we will delve into entering basic taxpayer information, covering the addition of spouse and dependents. Moving forward, we will also demonstrate how to create slips like T4, T4E, and T5 slips. And to ensure the accuracy, we will show how to match this information with the CRA's autofill my return data download. And we will also address the resolution of any outstanding review messages in your file. It is crucial to clear these messages because you can, before you can proceed with filing your return. Additionally, we will explore how to manage your progress using our workflow tracking feature. This will help you stay organized and efficient throughout the tax preparation process. So this is a TaxCycle start screen, and we are on T1. We have selected T1 module here. There are a few ways that you can carry forward. So we will work on 2024 return today. You can carry forward a single return by clicking over here. So if you click on carry forward, it will take you to 2023 returns, and you can select the return that you want to carry forward. As soon as you select that return, and then you can simply click on open. It will create that carry forward return for 2024 for you. And if you want to, I'm just going to go back. We will just simply close this without saving because I want to mention that if you need to carry forward from other competitors' products like Profile, CanTax, and TaxPrep, the process is pretty much similar. As we selected the TaxCycle file, you can select these competitor files as well to carry forward if you're coming from these competitor products. And if you're coming from DTMax, you would like to click on carry forward DTMax, and then you can browse the files where you have the extracted DTMax files, and then carry it over to 2024 and start working in TaxCycle. And I would like to mention that you can go back as far as 2012, and then you do have an option to do a batch carry forward as well using Client Manager. For that, you would go to Client Manager, and then there are batch operations. Once you have selected the files, then you would like to choose carry forward in a batch operation, and that can save you tremendous amount of time. Now, what we are going to do today, we are going to create 2024 return. So I am just going to, for that, I would just click on new 2024 T1 return. And then as soon as you click on that, it will open a T1 return for you like this. And here we are in T1. The first thing I am going to see is info worksheet. This is where I will enter the basic information or personal information of my taxpayers data. And so I'm going to start entering with the social insurance number. Here I can enter that information. And again, this information, whatever the data I will be entering today, it is a demo data, so nothing is real here. And you might have noticed as soon as I entered the social insurance number, there is a bulletin appeared at the top. I am just simply going to dismiss this because this says I have another file in my database that has the same social insurance number as the one that I have entered. That's because we use the same data over and over again. So in your case, if you get that message, you will probably want to look and see if another return has already been started for the same person. All right, so we can give name to this client, first name and then last name. I am simply going to answer some of the questions here. And then you can see that there is a review message for marital status as we are creating a marriage return. So we will simply select married. And then after that, I'm just going to select yes to the Canadian citizen, and then language of correspondence is already selected because that's how I have set my default data in my or default values in my options. And you can do that as well before you start creating any return for you. That can save you some time from data entry. And then you can also enter email address, which is important these days. Thomas, let's see, taxcycle.com. And this ensures that you have all the details of the clients through which you can contact your client. So we have entered the phone number as well, and we can enter their address, Street 8, and then let's say city, let's say Calgary, and we have mentioned they are living in Alberta, and we are good here. So as we have selected that their residency is in Alberta, and if you have a non-resident client, you would like to enter that information right here, you can click on this drop down arrow and then select the option accordingly. And then as we have mentioned that we are creating a marriage return, so we can enter some of the data for a spouse. So as soon as we enter that information, let's just start by doing that now. Not here. Let's click here. It's 0001 and then here, and then we can just provide few basic information, more basic information, and then let's give the name. And let's say Kim is a spouse of Thomas. Now, on the right hand side, you can see that the address of the spouse for the spouse is already pre-populated from Thomas's return. So if you need to update it, you can do that as well right in here. And just to know that this is not going to create a spouse return, it's only going to acknowledge that Thomas has a spouse. And I will show you in a minute how we can use this data to create a spouse return. It's automatically, as I mentioned, picking up the address that Thomas lives at. So we are going to leave it as it is. And if we go a little further down, there is questions about credits. I will keep it as it is. Blank, but you can choose it according to your client's situation. And then there are some filing questions that you can select. However, I will just keep it like this because we will clear them in our review section when we get to that later in the presentation. So let's talk about how you can easily create a spouse return within the same file. So there are various ways that you can couple a return. One is that you can click on the taxpayer's name at the top on the left hand side, and then click on spouse name if you have it entered their detail. And another way is that you can go to the home menu at the top and then click on taxpayer's name again, not the name, just the taxpayer keyword, and then you can click on spouse name. Another way to do that is that you can simply click on switch to spouse, or you can press F5. That will also take you to the same options like these ones. Now, if you haven't started a return for a spouse, you would simply click on create a new return for a spouse. But if you have already started a return, then you want to bring that return over to this file, you can simply do that by clicking on open an existing return for spouse. And then as soon as you click on OK, you will TaxCycle will open an Explorer window for you from where you can browse spouse return and then bring it in this file. However, for the simplicity, I'm going to choose that that we have not actually have created a return for spouse. So let's create a new return for spouse. Now, as soon as we do that, you can see at the top, I just saw that bulletin message again because we have used the same insurance number for the spouse as well. So I'm just simply going to dismiss this. And in here, you can see that it has created Kim's return for me, and we can use F5 to jump back and forth between spouse return. So now we are in Thomas return, principal taxpayer, and if I press F5 again, now we are in Kim's return, that is spouse return. And it has taken me to the info worksheet for Kim, and again it has populated the information that I have already entered on the info worksheet from the principal taxpayer from Thomas return, and I don't have to double key anything because it's already here. I might have a different email address for Kim, but in this case, let's just use the same one that we have for Thomas, just for the simplicity's sake. But you can definitely enter another email address, another home address, all of that you can separately enter for the spouse as well right in here. All right, and you can also look into the spouse information for Kim that is also entered, and all the credits and filing information, all of that in here. Now let's go back to Thomas return because I want to show you that once you have a spouse return created, I usually, once I have my people set up, usually I enter the info worksheet, and then I would like to go to the engagement worksheet and make sure that I have the information I want to track in there. So for that, you would click on engagement from the top, or you can go to the engagement from the prepare sidebar from the left-hand side as well. So right here, it is a great way that it is a great place to keep track of the important information. Like if you are in a larger office, you might have an office ID, client ID, return ID. You might have a return reviewer or manager. So this is a great place to keep track of some of that information for your client. And there are these dates here in the workflow due dates and completion dates section actually integrate with our workflow. And I will show you how that works later as well. But you can enter it here as well, right? You can just simply click on it and enter those dates right in here. So if you have dates that you want to keep track of, like when your engagement started, or when the client is due to come back for a review, you can put that all in here. And general engagement information, I want to mention that this box, which is a special instructions to prepare. So this is just the general notes section where you can put special notes about these particular clients. You can carry forward to next year if you want. For example, if there is something, like they sold their house, but it's not applicable to next year, you can make a note here and carry it forward to remind yourself to ask them next year about that sale. So you can do that right here. And then we have a consent section here where we have authorization set up for authorizing a representative, or if they have a business, for creating a business authorization as well. So if you already have one on file, you can just set it up here that you already have that. So I'm just going to set mine here. So let's just say valid authorization already on file and accepted by CRA. And you might have noticed that as soon as I selected that at the top, I see that there is an autofill my return bulletin appear. So that it is saying that data may be available. So if it is, then you can just simply click on it. And I will talk about that in a bit later in our presentation today as well. And at the bottom, you can see there is a preparer section here, which populate from options which are about how important those are to set up early. And then you have a section for discounter. If you are a discounter working on bankruptcy, there's a section for that. We have an invoice option or section as well. So there is a functionality in here to create invoices as well for your client. What I want to mention here is that if your client is moving, like the example of selling their house this year, we know that that next year they are going to have a new address, or maybe they already have one. You know what that it is. You can put it right in here, and it will carry forward to next year for you automatically. And then we have a disclaimer. These are the things that you can customize to show on the jackets and the summaries when you are printing them out. So that's the engagement page. So this is how you will see all that information, whether you want to enter it or there is specific information that you're looking for your office or dates for your clients. So this is where you would come and look into that. Now, the next thing I want to show you is that let's say Thomas and Kim have children. So if you go back to the top under the home menu, you can click on taxpayer's name, and then there is the option to add dependent, or you can simply click on taxpayer's name, principal taxpayer at the top on the left hand side, and then click on add dependent. Both options will bring us to the same window, this dialog box here. And we have three options here. So if I select show dependent worksheet, which does not actually create a tax return for the dependent, it just record them and whether or not there are any credits related to that particular dependent. For a child, a baby, I would just use dependent worksheet and enter their information there. Or an older dependent who may be filing their own tax return but is doing it separately from you, you can create this dependent worksheet and record relevant information that way. Or if they're older and they need to file a return, you can select create new return for dependent. And similar to we did with spouse return. The third option you have is that you can open an existing return that may have already been created, but now we want to bring it in here so we can take advantage of some of those optimization. In this case, I am just assuming that their dependents are quite young. So I'm just going to go ahead and with dependent worksheet and then click OK. Now it has taken me to the dependent worksheet. Here I can just simply enter dependent information here, and let's say it's daughter, and then you can see they are quite young. And if they have a social insurance number, I would enter that in here. If they have any income, so likely not, but if they do, then you would like to enter that in here. And because that will be relevant to some of the calculation potentially, and if they are eligible dependent, you would select that here as well. On the down the worksheet, this is where you would set those various things that are relevant to the dependent. So let's talk about how you can create slips in TaxCycle. So first thing is that you can go to the Prepare sidebar on the left-hand side. And from the top, there is a drop-down arrow. You can choose what type of forms you want to look into. If you want to see all the forms, then you would select all forms. If you want to see the one that are used or that have a data entry or carried forward or autofill my return data, or the ones that have a review messages, you can choose it accordingly. But for today's demonstration, I will choose all forms. And then you can navigate to slip section. So you can also collapse all to see all the sections that you have in here and then expand slips. And afterwards, let's say you want to create T4 slip, you would simply click on T4, or you can press F4 and then type T4 and then hit enter. So T4 is now open. So let's say you want to type issuer name and Oliver's Electric Limited, let's say, and Thomas has worked for this company, and then he has worked in Alberta, and let's say he has got earned some decent amount. And here, let's pick a CPP amount what TaxCycle is suggesting us. And then let's enter some EI amount. And then let's say they have paid some income tax as well. Okay, so we have entered our T4 here. If you have anything else that you see on your client's list for a T4 slip, then you would like to enter it accordingly by seeing the line number. Okay, let's say that I am good with these with this. Then this is the T4 information that I see on my client's detail, and we have our T4 ready. And then I would like to create T4E. And for T4E, again, I have gone through the sidebar and click on T4E, or you could have just used F4, and then type T4E. Now let's say this is from Service Canada, and then we can enter 30% repayment rate, and then let's say the total benefits paid 2,900, and regular and other paid is 8,400. And then we have, let's say, non-taxable assistance here, 1,500. And this is, let's say this is the information that we wanted to enter. And there we have our T4E. And now let's quickly create T5 here. Let's say issuer is ABC Bank, and I am going to give 50%. I'm going to split it with Kim, spouse, because it is a joint account. Let's say 50% here. And then let's say the interest from Canadian source, how much it is. It is 125.70. And then let's say the source is allow interest earned at bank. So here we have T5, and if I quickly press F5, now we are in Thomas return at the top. On the left hand side you can see always, and here on the T5 slip as well at the top you can see. So as soon as I click F5, it has taken me to the Kim's return, spouse return for the same T5, and we can see that it is 50% for Thomas and 50% for Kim, and it is dividing between those that amount between those these couple. Awesome. So this is how we have created our T4, T4E, and T5. And now I would navigate to AFR. So let's go back to Thomas return here. And we have our basic data all in here. And I want to go and I want to see what CRA has. So I'm going to go to the data tab at the top. So here, if you have a bulletin, if you might have autofill my return, so you would see a bulletin like this, and you can simply click on it. The other way is that you can click, go to the data tab at the top, and then click on autofill my return. Both will take you to the same option. So here you can see that what clients have been selected, and for which client you have author app already. So for the one that you will have, you will be able to see it right in here. So that let's just skip Kim for now, because I want to show you, because we have entered the information for Thomas only for T4, T4E, and T5. So from here, you would simply go to next and enter your CRA credentials to get the data from CRA. However, I am just going to use my demo data that I have a pre-made response file here. So I'm just going to choose that. Now it is working in a similar way as it would have as you would have gone to CRA website and then downloaded that data from CRA once you have entered your credentials. So this is an autofill my return window, and this is where you will see what you are downloading from CRA. This is the CRA information, and on the drop down arrow you can see that it is matching with the slip what we had already entered in our return, T1 return for Thomas. And see that we don't have, let's say, Thomas did not have provided us T4A, so we have not that we did not have that entered here. So you can see that TaxCycle is very intuitive in creating a brand new slip as well when it is not able to find a similar slip in the return. So it is creating a new slip for us, and then for T4E Service Canada it is matching, and for T5 it is matching. And if this would have been a carried forward return and there is a carried forward slip, then still it would match that with that as well, and you would might see the purple swoosh in the form icon right in here to show you and indicating you that this is matching with the carried forward slip as well. So this is how you will see right in here. On the right hand side, you can see a preview right on this window already in the return and what you had in the previous year. So you can see that TaxCycle is highlighting us that there is no CPP that is coming from the CRA, but we have it entered in here. And there is an insurable earnings or pensionable earnings that is different. So it is highlighting that amount for us as well. So it is completely up to us that if we want to go ahead and import it, we can do that right from here. Let's say import data. And as soon as we do that, you can see we are on T5 slip here. On the left hand side, it has shown us CRA AFR column that is indicating that it has the data that we have got from AFR. And then on the right hand side, in the amount, this is the data we have entered. So you can see that for T5, we are all good. We don't need to make any changes on there. However, there is another way to quickly look into the AFR, all the forms that has AFR. So you will go to the top and then select imported, including AFR. So it will only show you the slips or the forms that has AFR data. And this asterisk or this star sign that you see within this form icon, it shows that that there is a AFR data in these forms or slips. So we are good with T5, and then let's go to T4E, and there is this review sign just right beside to the form icon that shows that there is something that we need to look into. So we can see that there are review messages, and let's say there is some EI maternity or paternal benefit that we have, benefit payments that we forgot to enter. So we can just simply add that, and we are good in there. For T4A, we did not have that, so we are good. And then for T4, we can see that there is, that it says that use values from AFR. So if this is the information that if information coming from CRA is accurate, then you would simply click on use values from AFR. So, however, if the information that you have entered, you have seen on the T4 slips, and it needs to be corrected on the CRA side, then you would simply click on this this check mark to sign it off. Otherwise, you will simply use values from AFR, and it will update that information for you. It is that simple. Another worksheet I always mention to look into, or it is worth looking into, is under summaries. There is a AFR summaries worksheet that you would look into if you were to log in to represent a client. All that information, what you have imported from CRA through AFR, you will be able to see that in here, and all the RRSP contribution history, all of that is in here. And then also there is another worksheet that is CDE, Client Data Inquiry, that is also you can find in here. So here we are on info worksheet. So we have data in our return. However, we want to look into that if everything is accurate and or if we have missed anything or if there is any error. So TaxCycle makes that easier for you by highlighting the fields that has missing information. It shows you in a yellow highlighted field that there is missing information or there is an error. So you would just simply hover the cursor over it, and then it will show you some options and you can pick it from there. And it makes these are actually called quick fixes that makes easier for you to enter that information or to fix those review messages. So the review messages with this colored triangle at the corner, that shows the severity of the message. The one that is in blue, it is more of a suggestion. And if I scroll it down, there are red ones that is critical messages that you need to solve it before you go for filing, because it can prevent you from that. And then there are some yellow colored corner triangle that is shown in the review messages. That is more of a cautionary review messages. So let's quickly solve these messages. And then let's say this is contact preparer, and then let's just simply solve them. This is how you would just sign them off as well. Now, this is how you will solve them within the form. If you have any of the review message within the form, you will just simply go ahead and select it. But you can look into the list of review messages that you have within the return. So for that, you will go to the you will go to the sidebar under the review tab. You can find all the list of review messages that you have within the return, and from here to sign it off, simply you can just simply click on this check mark on the right hand side, and if you need to look into the review message, you can double click on it and it will take you to the problem field, and then you can select the solution right from there or solve it there, or you can sign it off from there as well. Another thing is that there is a easy way to solve them, is that if wherever you see there is a light bulb, you can apply the quick fix. So for example, for this one, if we want to provide election information of this pair taxpayers to Election Canada, do we want to do that? Let's say no. We can just simply solve it right from here. If they have a foreign property in excess 200,000, no, let's just select it accordingly. So we can solve all of those questions right from here, and we can go to we wanted to select no here. So let's say they did not own, and they don't own any of the foreign property that cost more than 100,000, and then let's say you just want to simply sign them off. There are some memos, there are some suggestions that you can sign them off, and then to do that, you can simply click on this check mark on the right hand side. So I'm just going to go ahead and resolve those review messages, because you want to transmit the return as well. So once you have review messages resolved, you can go ahead and transmit this return. However, I want to show you one more thing in review messages, that is under the home. There are some review marks that you can use. So for example, if there is a first review or second review that you use in your workflow, then you can just simply take it, pick that mark, and then click on the field, so that you know that you have done the review, first review or second review similarly, or if you have if there is a correction needed, so you can use those review marks. And as soon as I do that, you can see on the left hand side there is a review marks that is showing that Parminder marked it as for correction. So you can see that who marked it, when it is, and for what it is related. And to remove that, you can simply click on that field again, and it will remove that review mark from there. And to go back to the regular cursor, you can click on here, or to add a memo, you can do that as well from here. So let's go back to the regular cursor, and on the left hand side, let's click on transmit, and here you can see that we do have a valid consent already on the form. However, if you want to quickly look into the authorization form, you can do that from here. And if you need to update the authorization, you can select it from here as well. And afterwards, you would like to ensure that you have a T183 printed, and whether you have got the signature on paper or electronically, you would like to confirm that in here. So let's say you have got it on paper. So as soon as you confirm the signature, you can go ahead and transmit this return. Now, if we click on transmit, then it will transmit the T1E file for us, or as this one is selected, or if there are more forms that need to be transmitted to CRA, then you would just simply click on transmit selected. It will transmit all the forms that needs to be sent, or the one that is selected right in here. It will transmit all that to CRA. So let's click on transmit selected, and we can say transmit now. Now, as soon as we do that, it is asking us to save our return where we want to save it, and then we can go ahead and save this return where we want it, and then let's just save it in 2024 files. Now, once it is transmitted, you will see a happy face, transmission successful in green text that is indicating that our transmission is successful. You can look into the confirmation number as well. And if you want to look into quickly e-file results, you can click on this link, and it will take you to the worksheet where you can find the confirmation number and the message that you have received from CRA. And also, if you need to provide a e-file receipt to your client, you can print that right from here as well. Now, next thing I would like to mention is that if you're working on a family return, then you would like to go to the file menu at the top and then click on transmit family. So you can transmit for the whole family in one go as well. Once all the outstanding errors are resolved, and then you can select the people for which you want to transmit the return. Once that is done, you would simply click on transmit. All right, and afterwards you would just simply click on print tab on the left hand side to print the forms. Here in the print menu, this is where I can print off the copies for my client, my office, all of that, or T1 file if I want to use this print set as well. And again, you can set all those preferences for what's in print set and what print you want to use. This is all available in your options. And for printing, there is a whole webinar that I would suggest you to look into our website, and there are a lot more resources that how you can set your preferences and print it. And to print all the selected print sets, you can just simply make sure that the ones that you want to print are selected right from here, and then simply click on print selected. It will print it in the background for you. It will not interrupt any of the work that you are doing. And if there is any specific form or letter that you want to quickly print, you can right click and then click on quick print PDF. It will create a PDF or generate a hard copy for you depending on what you have chosen in the output. The last thing I would like to mention is workflow tools. This is where you will track the status of your tax preparation process. Here you can see where you are in the progress, and you can define the dates for the for your return, for example, and engagement start date. Let's say it is in December, or as we have transmitted, just for the sake of that, we can just choose what date you would choose. And then let's say we have sent client engagement, and we have signed engagement letter and on file. And you can see as soon as I'm doing that, it is showing that who has done it and when. And you can add a memos or a comment here for this task. Just simply click on it and add what you want to write it down, it will appear in here. And as soon as you do any of the action, some of the tasks are automatically completed. For example, auth wrap transmitted. As soon as we had selected that in our engagement worksheet, it has automatically marked this task as completed. And you will see different groups have different tasks, and you can decide which task appear in which group. That is something you can do it in your in options. And I always mention that you can specify under the return completion your engagement due date. That is really good to have it, because you can if this return is about to overdue, you can always prioritize this return using the client manager. And another thing I would mention here is that under the prepare tab, I'm just going to go ahead and select all forms again, because I want to show you workflow summary. Here you can see that all the summary, all the overview of your workflow status, and you can print it for your meetings or review. And we were in engagement worksheet, and as you can see, we entered engagement start date. It is automatically incorporated in here. In engagement due date, that is also incorporated it from our workflow tool. All right, so that's all I wanted to share today. Just want to mention that if you have more questions about how you can prepare a basic T1 return, then I would suggest you to go to our taxcycle.com resources. That is the page where you can find all those getting started videos, help topics, and video tutorials that can really help you to get all the resources that you need to get up and running with TaxCycle. And if you have more specific question, we will suggest and encourage you to reach out to our support team at info@taxcycle.com. And that is all that I wanted to cover today. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a wonderful rest of the day.